Las Vegas police have arrested Keefe D for the murder of Tupac Shakur. What up, world? Your boy Charles Brown back again talking facts. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Man, all these years we've been watching Keefe D tell this story again and again. You know how MC Shan say, you love to hear the story again and again, right? Keefe D been barking this story minimum 15 years in the open, like openly, about what he did, what didn't happen, who did what, why he did it. He been on Vlad TV for freaking over 10 years telling everything he could about this story. No one would think that Keefe D would ever get arrested for this, even though it's like he was in the car. We all were telling ourselves like all these different things, like, okay, he's the last survivor of the people that they say were in the vehicle, but he never got arrested. Why is that? It's all these conspiracies and this and that. And by the time you listen to all the conspiracies, it's 14 different people involved. But yet Keefe D is one of the ones saying I was there. No one else is saying that, right? I want to read to you from this report of what's going on. And it's a little lengthy, but every word matters. And all of this is going to be important. But Keefe D has finally been arrested by Las Vegas police. And some people say it's because he still had some form of, I want to say, a token from the murder. Be it a bullet, be it something from the gun that was, I don't know what it was, but I'm gonna read the actual article so we can all know together what is going on. And then we can form a collective opinion and have a conversation. All right. A man connected to suspected shooter in Tupac Shakur's 1996 killing was arrested in Las Vegas. Las Vegas police have arrested a man in the deadly drive-by shooting of Tupac Shakur. A long-awaited break in the case. Listen to that, a break in the case. That's important. That has frustrated investigators and fascinated the public ever since the hip-hop icon was gunned down. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was arrested early Friday morning, although the exact charge or charges were not immediately clear. According to two officials with first-hand knowledge of the arrest, they were not authorized to speak publicly ahead of an expected indictment. Davis has long since been known to investigators and has himself admitted in interviews and in his 2019 tell-all memoir, Compton Street Legend. Y'all hear that, right? He got a whole memoir calling himself a Compton Street Legend. I never read this book or anything like that. But I do remember him being on Vlad TV talking about, get the book. Got to get the book. Damn, gotta get the book. Right? That he was in the Cadillac where the gunfire erupted during the September 1996 drive-by shooting. Shakur was 25 when he was gunned down. The arrest comes 2 months after Las Vegas police raided his wife's home, July 17th, in Henderson. They were looking for items, quote, concerning the murder of Tupac Shakur. Police reported collecting multiple computers, a cell phone, a hard drive. What's on a cell phone right now, right? Unless you text somebody something, some pictures or something from it, right? And a hard drive. A Vibe magazine that featured Shakur. Why would that be important? I get it that they collected it, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's something written in the Vibe magazine, but just a Vibe magazine with Tupac Shakur in it, I don't know how that's going to be used in the murder case, but we'll move on. Several .40 caliber bullets. So if there was a .40 caliber, I believe that was a part of the shooting, right? So if they got .40 caliber bullets from him that he stupidly kept for, how many years is this? This is damn near 30 years ago, right? If you still got the bullets from that, you either a numb nut or you thought they were never coming. All right, so let's keep it moving. In his book, Davis said he broke his silence over Tupac's killing in 2010 during a closed-door meeting with federal and local authorities. At the time, he was 46 and facing life in prison on drug charges when he agreed to speak with the authorities. Now, you got to think, let's put this in the picture. This was 2010. How many years? That's mad years after Pac is dead. But he's facing life in prison, and he's 46 years old. So, like, I'm going to tell you what you want to know, right? Some people will call that snitching no matter what it is. Some people say you just snitched, right? You talking, you cooperating to get out of prison. And he didn't go. So that's literally the definition. Now, you snitching on dead people. People got different opinions about snitching on a dead person. Some people call it snitching regardless. Well, let's keep it moving. Quote, they promised they would shred the indictment and stop the grand jury if I helped them out. He has described himself as one of the last living witnesses to the shooting. Now, I'm just going to speculate. I don't know if that's the only thing he helped them out with, if they dropped all them charges and shredded the indictment, and it's only because you told him about some old Tupac stuff. But let's keep it moving. Shakur was 25 when he was gunned down in a drive-by shooting near the Las Vegas Strip on the night of September 7th, 1996. The rapper was in a BMW driven by Death Row Records founder Marion Suge Knight in a convoy of about 10 cars. I told you, everything is important that we're talking about. It was 10 cars, but somehow Pac still got killed. They were waiting at a red light when a white Cadillac pulled up next to them and gunfire erupted. Shakur was shot multiple times and died a week later. In 2018, after a cancer diagnosis, Keefe admitted publicly in an interview for a BET show to being inside the Cadillac during the attack, which implicated his nephew Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, saying he was one of the two people in the backseat where the shots were fired. The shooting happened shortly after a casino brawl earlier in the evening involving Anderson, Shakur, and others. Anderson denied any involvement in the Shakur shooting. He died 2 years later in a shooting in Compton, California. Y'all remember that Baby Lane? He's the one who initially was attacked by Tupac and Suge and the rest of the MOB in that casino after the Tyson fight. And he was the one who allegedly retaliated. And according to, I believe he was this guy's nephew. I believe they just said that. And according to Keefe D, he was the reason that they were going to get Tupac. They wanted revenge on Tupac for beating him up. And rightfully so. If you are a gangbanger in Compton and some rapper comes and beats you up, you're probably going to go try to get that rapper yourself. At the end of the day, first of all, you're going to get anybody. You're going to try to get back anybody, but especially if it's a one of the biggest rappers in the world that just came and mashed on you, you're going to be like, oh yeah, he got to go. What's my guy over there? Glasses Malone's on the West Coast made that record that got a lot of people upset. Tupac must die. But if you really from the hood like that, you already know what was going on, and you're going to ask yourself, what was he supposed to do? End of the day, Baby Lane, Keefe D, and another occupant in the vehicle rode down on Pac, and Pac was shot. I believe they said 10 times. So Shakur's death came as his fourth solo album, All Eyes on Me, remained on the charts with some 5 million copies sold. It was nominated 6 times for a Grammy Award, and he's largely considered one of the most influential and versatile rappers of all times. That is a fact. So Greg Kading, a retired Los Angeles police detective, everyone who knows about Pac knows about Greg Kading, and we know that Greg Kading pretty much solved this case way back in the 90s, but he was shut down by the LA Police Department, who he deems to be, to a degree, a corrupt organization that is hiding its hand when it comes to the Tupac and Biggie murders. Quote, it's so long overdue, Kading told the Associated Press. Police have been yearning for him to be arrested. People have been yearning for him to be arrested for a long time. It's never been unsolved in our minds. It's been unprosecuted. Kading has been outspoken about this case for 20-something years, and he was actually shut down in a lot of ways. But what happened was, with the invent of YouTube and other interview devices, he was able to tell his story, and a lot of people, this arrest may have come from him telling that story so much, and for Keefe D being so goofy telling his story so much. But let me continue. Yes, and it was unprosecuted. Kading said he interviewed Davis in 2008 and 2009 during Los Angeles police investigations of the killing of Shakur and the slaying of Biggie. Kading said also that he talked with a Las Vegas detective about the case, including after SWAT raided the home in July. The former Los Angeles detective said he believed the investigation gained new momentum in recent years following Davis's public descriptions of his role in the killing. You can't keep telling your story about how you were in the vehicle that killed this man. Something had to give. You can't keep getting money off this. He made the 2019 memoir Compton Street Legend, and he told things about that in there. It's those events that have given Las Vegas PD the ammunition and the leverage to move forward. He put himself squarely in the middle of the conspiracy, Caden said of Davis. He had acquired the gun. He had given the gun to the shooter. He had been present in the vehicle when they hunted down and located both Tupac and Suge. You got to remember what he just said. He said he gave him the gun, right? It says he put himself in the middle of the conspiracy. He acquired the gun. He gave the gun to the shooter, and he was present in the car. He said all this. No one knew this but him. Keefe D's the only one that knew this, and he started telling on himself by 2010 all the way up through 2019 when he wrote that book, because he started feeling more and more invincible. We're going to talk about how Keefe D got in this mess. Caden noted that Davis is the last living person among the 4 people who were in the vehicle from which shots were fired at Shakur and rapper, I'm sorry, they put rapper Suge Knight. Suge Knight, not a rapper. Others were Davis's nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, Terrence Bubble Up Brown, and DeAndre Freaky Smith. It's a concerted effort of conspirators, Katie said, adding that he believed that because the killing was premeditated, Davis could face a first-degree murder charge. All the other direct conspirators or participants are all dead. Keefe D is the last man standing among the individuals that conspired to kill Tupac. Do y'all know how insane this really is, that a man at this state of the game in his life, what was he, 46 back in 2010? So this man is in his 60s? Like, am I bugging out? He's in his late 50s. Okay, he's in his late 50s. Imagine going to jail for something that happened almost 30 years ago, because you told on yourself on Vlad TV and everything else. This is what the internet is doing to people. Even an OG like this man, right? Even an OG that knows better gets caught up in the glitz and the glamour of getting money, getting fame, getting infamy. Like, who really wants to be known as the guy that was in the car when Tupac got killed? That's your legacy. And he tells this story on demand, on it's like do a handstand on demand. He just does it. He tells the story like it's nothing. You paying, I'm saying. He's there. Anybody want to interview with Keefe D? I could probably get an interview with Keefe D tomorrow. Like, just pay him. And he will tell the whole story all over again. Damn, no, we was in the car, damn, right? This is the problem with this situation. Now, Pac is well beloved. I just watched his Dear Mama documentary. Probably, can't nobody tell me different. This was probably the greatest documentary in the history of documentaries. I've seen a lot of documentaries. This is literally the best one I've ever seen. The Dear Mama documentary is engaging. It's interesting. It is informative. It tells you things you did not know. There's nobody on earth that's going to say they knew all of that stuff about Tupac after you watch that 4-part documentary. There's no one. That needed to be done because it shines a new light on this man. He's so mythologized. And with Keefe D, when you kill someone of this stature, you need to actually keep your mouth shut. You don't see the people that shot up JFK, John F. Kennedy, right? Martin Luther King. You don't see them doing interviews talking about, yeah, we was in the car and he put out the ratchet. Like, no one does that. This is actually a first. Like, in this era, we've had more gangsters on YouTube than ever in history talking. They go on Vlad TV. They get their own podcast. Michael Franzini and all these different people. They get their own podcasts and become legendary on all of the black gangsters. They coming home from doing 20, 25, 30 years. They coming home and they doing podcasts. Right? I know a couple people out of DC that went in the 90s, that when I was young, they went in, did they 25, did they 30, came out. Now they legends on YouTube. But this is the price it's paying, because some of them legends are committing, they're indicting themselves by telling these stories. Some of these stories can still get you arrested, allegedly. Apparently, Keefe D just got his home raided. for one of the most, probably, if not the most high-profile murder, other than JFK, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Tupac is right there. Top 5 assassinations, Tupac has got to be one of them. And for you to tell stories about how you were in the car and who pulled the trigger and who was scared and who did this and that and what Suge did, it's amazing that he wasn't arrested longer than a long time ago. But for some reason, he skated under the radar and he kept telling these stories and he got more and more bold with it. And I believe it wasn't even but a couple months ago. Somebody, was it Art of Dialogue, asked him, was he worried about it? He's like, I ain't worried about it. Like, he's not worried about getting arrested. That's when you feel invincible. That's when you feel like it's so old. When you start to profit off of someone's death and assassination, there may be consequences for that. There's a lot of people who, when murderers go to prison and they try to write books, the family comes and tries to take that money. Because profiting off of murdering someone is usually frowned upon. And somebody's trying to come and get you. End of the day, I don't believe that this was an accident. I believe there was a lot of forces in motion. I'm going to go on a limb and say something was told to somebody that Keefe D had something in that house. I'm just going to go on a limb. I believe that someone said, oh, Keefe D got a bullet fragment. Keefe D got some shells from that shooting. He still got them in a shoebox in his house. He might even be showing people when they come over, like real people that's down with it, like really, really down. He might go pull that shoebox out and say, yeah, that's the bullets that hit Pop. Them the shells right there. We grabbed some. Or they were still in the car. You got to think, if he's shooting from the car and the shells are flying, there's some shells in the car. He might have scooped them shells up. Souvenir. You know how much that's worth? On the black market? Now, apparently he didn't know how to sell them on the black market because he still had them. But end of the day, I feel like whatever they got is solid. Because he's been telling these stories for years and they never got him. And he had immunity in one of these cases. So they must have new evidence. I think he got, as a matter of fact, I believe Keefe D has immunity for everything he said in that old interview back in the day, back in, I believe, 2010, whenever he told the federal authorities and the local state authorities, like he said, I believe he has immunity. That's why he said they're supposed to shred up the indictment. End of the day, that's what he thought was still going to happen. But not if they get new evidence, and they tell you that. You can cooperate, but if we get new evidence that's indicting you in this crime, we can start the trial all over again, right? Everybody, like not like YNW Melly, yeah, they couldn't convict, but they held him because they're gonna retry him, try to get different evidence on him, right? Try to change up the narrative. These people don't let stuff go, bro. Keefe D should have known better than that. And as a Compton street legend, you should have known better than that. Now, he might get out in a week and be laughing, for all we know. The evidence might be weak, but I don't think these guys, with all this because every single news outlet, there is not one that is not reporting that the murderer of Tupac Shakur, a man has been arrested in the murder of Tupac Shakur. This thing is worldwide, bro. I'm sure they're in Brazil, they're in Africa, they're in Russia, they're in Spain, they're everywhere. This headline is everywhere. So these people that arrested this guy for this, they're not trying to come out with egg on their face and have Keefe D laughing, talking about, damn, they thought they had me, but damn. They ain't trying to do that, bro. So when they pull Keefe D, first of all, they get a search warrant, right? To raid his house, they had to have something. You don't just say, let's go raid his house. No, you got to go and ask a judge, can we search his house? And the judge got to sign off. The judge going to say, show me some evidence. What you got? They're going to say, well, we heard about a shoebox with some bullets in it from the murder with the same gun. And he still has it. And he's showing people when they come over at tea time, when he doing dinner. End of the day, it ain't looking too good for Keefe D because they do not arrest people without evidence. Let's be honest. Now, do people beat murder charges? Yes, I don't know, but I think this is a Fed. I don't know if this is Fed or state. I don't know for sure. But it looked like it says the local PD. End of the day, the crime happened in Vegas. So the Vegas PD are the ones who are going to be looking for it. Now, why would you stay there? Why would you stay in Vegas if you murdered this man in Vegas and you still have... It got to make so low-key some kind of sense. Let's just be honest. So this is bizarre. It's weird to me. And I don't understand why a person would talk about this case so openly, even with immunity, because they can find a loophole and come back and get you. It's like you're thumbing your nose up. We've seen people go back. What's that guy? The guy who murdered the girl, well, allegedly murdered the girl on his property. They made a whole Netflix show about it. They found her body in the car on his property, behind his gate and on his own land, and he got off. At first, they couldn't get him, but then they came back and got him like mad years later. Now he's in jail for it. So it's like, I think it's called making a murderer or something like that, right? This stuff is always lingering. As long as you're alive, it's lingering. Keefe D should know better than that. Compton street legend, right? Anyway, rest in peace to Tupac, bro. This is the real victim in all this. Tupac was murdered. He had a lot of changes going on, and there's a lot of conspiracy about, even if it was Keefe D, there's a lot of people saying it wasn't just for beating up Orlando. There's a lot of conspiracy about Suge hand in it. There's a lot of conspiracy about a lot of LAPD's hand in it. There's a lot of conspiracy about many reasons why Pac would have been attacked on that day. But end of the day, Pac is the only one that did not survive. Rest in peace to Tupac. Tupac would have been a great man. He probably would have changed the entire direction of black people as a whole had he been allowed to live this long. It probably would have been so much coming out of it, because yeah, he was promoting thug life at the time, but he was going somewhere with it. He was going somewhere with it that was bigger than all of that you thought you saw. He wanted to speak to you in your own language, get your minds and hearts, and then move you toward something bigger and smarter. But on that note, I don't know, Keefe D, you in trouble, bruh. And even though you feel like you old, ain't no oldness until you sit in that joint in your 50s and you sitting there until your 70s. You know what I mean? It's really no joke. And I know he's used to the system. He's used to being incarcerated, but nobody wants to be incarcerated. On that note, let me know what you think in the comments. CLBMG. Go down into my links. I got a bunch of new affiliates and sponsors. And if you like the channel, go down into go to CLBMG.com, select one of the sponsors. We got ShotsBox. You can get whiskey delivered to your house. We got Beard Brand. You can tighten up your beard, get all that good stuff like that, have it looking nice and smooth and shiny. We got AvantLink. We got Skullcandy. That's the headphones, like they right there with Beats. They got a great speaker system situation going on. Go over there, check. We got a bunch of new sponsors, bro. CLBMG. Make sure you go to the website. Check out the new CLBMG. Go down in the links below. Click one of the sponsors. Support the channel. Show us some love. All right, subscribe. Hit the like button. Share the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
CLB.